Welcome everyone to the caster desk for the finals of the Spring Split and MSI spot on the line, a title on the line. I'm Drakos, joined by Dagda and Caedrel, and I'm just feeling this final. I think we are so lucky to have these 10 players on stage today. It has been an incredible road for Mad Lions to get here, to face down a challenger that no one expected to be at the end of the road. BDS story will be written today, and no matter who takes it, it's going to be incredible to watch.
Yeah, not just the title on the line, but MSI on the line, right? All your hopes and dreams could just fade away here. Losing a title is one thing, but then your split ends as well. You're going to have to wait till summer. So winning here is just so important in terms of getting to that international event. First international event for a lot of players here on this stage. And it sounds like we're ready to get into game one. A lot of stakes, a lot of hype. Two Titans.
And while we've all had the luxury of watching Mad Lions' impressive climb to this final, so have BDS. We'll see what they prepared today and pick bans and strategy for now. It begins by taking the Cannon away from Chasy. Makes a lot of sense when you saw what he was able to do on it yesterday.
Yeah, and I think Cannon's just naturally good into a lot of champions that Adam will want to play. You know, things like the Olaf and the Darius. We talked about things like the Sion backstage. It could be a good answer to it. But there's a Gragas ban as well, targeting at Mad Lions. The flex potential on red side, not something BDS want to put up with.
I'm curious if we get the Rakan ban coming through in this last spot for BDS. Ahri going to be taken off the board as well for Mad Lions. Just your standard red side ban. I am very curious to see what happens with this third ban though, because things like the Vi, still an opportunity here for Mad Lions to take it away if they so want to.
And I want to see what both these team identities are going to look like today. BDS, where they were the team who were sitting back, who were shutting down the opposition, scaling and outperforming in fights. Mad Lions yesterday shut down a similar strategy from Team Vitality, where they went for more early game, more mid-game oriented picks. Lissandra, Lee Sin, Xayah, Rakan, bottom side. The Rakan, of course, taken off the board, but maybe there's another way for them to get more aggressive in the early to mid-game and stop BDS from getting to what feels like an inevitability of late game.
Darius taken away. Is maokai the first pick here for BDS? maokai's been such a powerful jungler here in the LEC, not so much around the rest of the world, but looks like an easy champ in terms of locking down teams. Ahri first pick would be a bit scary when you're up against players like Nisqy, who can go for that Lissandra, but there's the Vi. Do you think they match it with a Xayah here, Mad Lions, or they stick to the Jinx?
Yeah, you take the Xayah, make it easy on yourself. You don't have to worry about it. And especially since you already know that you're playing up against the Vi, now you can start to look towards that kind of disengaged style composition, make things kind of a little bit handier. Elyoya even could operate on towards something like a Wukong here, so then he can have a decent team fight while also being able to provide some of that peel.
Chase is open as well. I wonder if that's a flex potential here for Mad Lions. Chase will be very happy to pick that one up. With that early Darius ban, but you're right, there's the Wukong picked up for Elyoya. Compare that with a counter pick here on mid on 3.
Interesting.
If they go for something like Zeri Lulu here, Mad Lions could pick up the Ahri and ban things like the Lissandra, or vice versa, pick the Lissandra and ban things like the Sylas, or they could match support.
I think taking the Ahri anyway makes a lot of sense. Very, very strong in the mid lane, great facilitator, but also just getting it away from that Vi. It's such a pain to try and deal with Vi, Ahri, the immediate answer on the level 6 as well. Anything that Nisqy tries to take out in the mid lane is going to be really hard to fight against.
And gentlemen, I have been a big critic of Wukong Ahri across this entire season. It's been incredible in the LPL, it's been incredible in the LCK. It hasn't always looked so good, but yesterday we saw Mad Lions piloting it. Admittedly, it was a Vi Ahri combination, but we saw how incredible Nisqy can be on this champion as a champion with a really high ceiling and a very low floor in terms of output. But Nisqy laying down the gauntlet here in these first 3 picks.
Yeah, Nuke hasn't played Lissandra yet here in the LEC, but I wonder if it's just worth covering off that ban, because Lissandra Vi is just so powerful. There's the Syndra taken away, which we have seen in pilots. You're looking at other bans, maybe Cassio's been rising in priority. We've seen as a Kali as well here, but I really think Lissandra just provides so much setup for BDS here. Expecting Mad Lions to go for support here on 4, looking towards things like, you know, the Thresh perhaps, or Nautilus. But with that Gwen ban, I wonder if BDS are going towards a Sion.
Yeah, Sion, also an opportunity for something like a Malphite as well if they want to try and go for it, but I am curious to see exactly what the game plan is, because obviously you've got like decent peel there on the opposite side with the Xayah, and like self-peel with the Ahri as well, so maybe you don't want to go towards it. The Garen going to be taken away from Adam as well. I mean, respect given where it's due, you know?
Got to be ready for the curveballs. Limit the variables in the draft, and Adam is certainly nothing if not a huge ball of variables in terms of champion pool and options that he can go for. So taking that off the board, Mad Lions debating on their pick now. Can just match support, save their final pick for top lane, look for a counter pick. Yep. Would open up that blind Sion for BDS, would make a lot more sense if it is going to be blind in that context.
Carzzy having a bit of yawn. Will slowly wake up as this game starts, I hope. You never really read Carzzy. A heap of emotions sometimes. But they're going to take away the Cassante. So Adam's only got one game with K'Sante so far this split, but some kind of denial here because obviously they can counter-pick support. Now this does open up Adam, Olaf banned away, Darius banned away. We expected the Sion looking at these bans regardless. And then we're looking for a mid laner for Nuke. He hasn't busted out Lissandra just yet, but I think it could be a powerful pick here.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense here. Lissandra or Cassiopeia going to be taken. I think that's a bit of a brave one because we saw what happened yesterday to Perks, where you got a very similar story with Mad Lions being able to play through the strong mid jungle and see if they can pick off Cassiopeia. But Nuke has had incredible performances when he's able to pop off in this champion.
So Hilly, is he going to go for the Thresh? No, he's going to go for the Blitzcrank in game 1.
And you gotta respect it.
Yeah, he had some games where he would miss hooks on stun targets, but then he would have it in the rest of the game. He would just hit so many phenomenal hooks, so they're gonna have to be really careful. When you're playing Cassio, Zeri, Lulu against Blitzcrank, it's really hard to contest his mid push, but BDS, Mage mid, scaling AD carry, team fight comp, just pure tanks on the top side as well. Mad Lions, a bit more early game. They will get outscaled eventually, but more playmaking potential.
And this is a huge first game because if Mad Lions can break open this BDS strategy, can stop them from scaling up or getting to the comfortable position where they can take objectives and team fight with confidence, they'll be the first. No other team has been able to do that. No other team has really been able to stop them from playing scaling compositions and shutting them down. They're on a 10-game win streak because they're so damn good at this exact style. But Mad shut down Vitality yesterday. Need to look to do the same here in game 1.
And it feels like a huge amount of that has to be through this mid jungle for Nisqy and Elyoya. See if they can get control so they can set up on those objectives. Because if you're going into a Blitzcrank blind as BDS, suddenly it's not so easy to try and play at this big team fighting comp.
They have a Sion though. We've seen what BDS can do in the level 1 shenanigans with things like the Sion. Zeri's not the best champion when it comes to lane swap. You're looking more at things like Tristana Jinx. So maybe not lane swap shenanigans, but there could be some interesting early jungle clears. But as we expected from the rest of the best of 3s and best of 5s we've seen from both these teams, scaling team fight for BDS, early to mid game playmaking for Mad Lions, execution, aim of the game for them, and BDS just weathering the storm. Let's see if they can weather the storm of Mad Lions though.
Have to find out. Let's get ready for game 1. BDS versus Mad Lions Spring Finals. Caedrel.
Yep.
You talked about the potential.
There's no way.
For some shenanigans around this Sion.
I mean, they could try to split map bot.
You can't do it from blue side, Mark. I don't think you can do it from blue side.
No, I don't think you can either. I think they're looking for a level 1 here, but, you know, Blitzcrank level 1 is always something you want to be careful of, but they want to contest this bot brush so they can get vision in the early lane phase to get the push. And Mad Lions aren't here to match. We'll see if they put a ward down or if they stick around. I mean, what they can do is stay 5-man bots, invade their bot side jungle at 120-ish, take away their bot camps, Adam TP's top and plays the split map and falls behind. That's one option. Let's see if they go for it, though.
Something that we'll have to track. And a good thing to call out, too, because across the games for BDS, Adam has been the guy who's been giving up resources, giving up himself, going elsewhere on the map. And obviously with the Sion, you expect to see him do the same. But Chasy, after the performance yesterday, certainly looking like a guy who could potentially punish that. Potentially the first one to do so. Huge damage percentage, winning, pulling ahead in lane. But Adam, you can see, despite how little damage he's doing, huge presence in the team fights.
Yeah, it's a bit sad to see Chasy back onto the tanks. He's looked absolutely spectacular where he does get his hands on the cannon, obviously banned away, but I think this will be a big showing to see how Adam is going to be able to try and control that top side and then move into, I think you were talking about on your stream, Caedrel, where it's like, he plays the ward, right? He doesn't really want to try and play for lane. He'll drop side waves so then he can actually be stacked as a 5-man unit and make sure that he can actually spot out what the opposition is up to.
And we'll see that in the mid game, towards the late game, as Adam will obviously play the lane phase, maybe look for some roams towards bot. Oftentimes you see Sion level 6, you know, just base, recall, ult bot and TP back towards top. I love that kind of play, but obviously we're going to have to be careful against Xayah. Nisqy trading really aggressively onto Nuke already. It's just a dodging game, really. If you can dodge the Qs of Cassio and get in range, you can win out on the trades. And if she hits, then obviously you'll start losing them. But Nisqy doing pretty good so far. Level ups coming through, both junglers pathing down towards the bot side.
Yeah. Important for Nisqy to be able to show a good performance on this champion. Incredibly high prio, as we talked about on paper. Very, very strong in the meta for Nuke. Cassio a bit more of a comfort pick. Hasn't really seen the same success in most players' hands as it has seen for Nuke. So see if he can continue to make good on this pick.
I'm really curious what happens in the spot lane, though. You can already see Labrov trying to get that early ward down to spot out where this Wukong is going to be, because if you're consistently trying to punish the range advantage, try and push underneath the tower, you do not want a Wukong to be randomly showing up, and Hilly is no shy way of trying to burn those early flashes, so then you can try and repeat gank onto the spot side. Wukong going to be going for a full clear, so a little bit later, down to the bot lane party, but I'm sure Elyoya will want to show up there.
Oh, Sheo's backtracked up, and there's a little ghost portal that'll spot him out. So now they have full information. Obviously, you can click on the Vice, see that she started on blue, move towards the top side, has a couple camps up. Only done 3 so far, getting some information here. We'll see that Elyoya started top and moved towards the bot side. Could try to go back through mid to bot side, but it's a bit awkward, so Nuke's gonna get the push. Sheo expected to hide and wait for that wave to go in, just so he doesn't give any information as to the fact that he's gone back towards that side of the map.
Yeah, it's interesting because earlier you mentioned Adam being that ward, being kind of just there to protect the team, to cover for the team, to support the team. And it was a similar story against Bo for Sheo. While he did have incredible games, you know, you think back to the Wukong versus Lee Sin matchup where he's just following that man around his jungle. It seems like he's trying to do something similar, but the first hook now going to land. Carzzy following up. 3 feathers back, not quite going to get the snare. Labrov now zooming out to safety,
Carzzy
running as fast as he can. Carzzy, first blood on the bottom side.
What a play from the Mad Lions bot lane already. Looked like they got caught napping a bit there. I think BDS thought the wave was in a good spot and that Mad Lions wouldn't contest, but they moved forward and hooked as they leveled up.
Hook gonna connect, another punch. Knocks him up. No follow-up here. Feathers not able to find the root.
Yeah, Crownie will hold on to his summoner spells, but the fact that Hilly didn't have to burn his flash to make that play is huge, because now if Elyoya actually does manage to get down to this bot lane, there's just no real escape for Labrov if Hilly can chase him down. So really nice job by Mad. And honestly, this bot lane has been stepping up huge. The amount of duo lane kills they've got recently has been absurd.
Yeah, Carzzy had a really tough year last year, didn't he, on Vitality? Never find the performance that he would have wanted. This year was a little bit up and down, but now Mad Lions are definitely back on track. 2nd place in winter and now back in the finals here in spring. As we see Elyoya not based yet, going through his 2nd round of respawn camps. We'll spot out Sheo, who's a little bit behind on the clear. But Elyoya probably going to take a base after this and then support his bot side. Can really start to punish that Lulu. Blitzcrank flash up. That should be an easy setup.
Now connecting, flash in, flash out from Nuke, timing. Millisecond off there, Nuke just barely able to make it out of safety, but another flash burn. Hylissang using the advantage that he earned bot side to get an even bigger advantage mid lane.
Hilly's putting in work, and again, it was the same that we saw in the semi-finals yesterday. The fact that you can get out, roam around, start to burn some of these summer spells, it just makes things so much easier, especially if you start to look towards, you know, early objectives like the dragon and that, which Hilly is just going to solo as a level 3. What a prank, what a chat.
What is he doing? His jungler's not even gone out of the base gates yet. He's just started the dragon. He's going to tank it up, I guess. He'll take a bit of damage for this, but he's got 2 potions. But yeah, Hilly's just, I mean, this is the life of a jungler, the dream. You know, your top laner starts Herald, your support starts your dragon for you.
But also, this is exactly what you want from a team in an incredibly nail-biting final, is to have your most veteran player walk up like he does not care, like it's another day at scrims, land a hook, go mid, land a hook, go start a dragon, I guess. Like, this is an amazing start for the Mad Lions, and especially for Hylissang.
And you can tell by the way the game's played who's calling the shots. You know, if you see Hilly just start up a dragon there, he's saying, Yoya, come to dragon now, we're going to take it. And you just trust him, and it works.
And I mean, of all the people to trust Hilly, it's not like he's not a veteran in finals at this stage. He's been to so many over the course of his career. We'll have to see now if he can try and find a big win. It's been 5 finals for him without a win since he got that last victory in 2018 with Fnatic. We'll have to see now if this could be the time to do it.
Sheo's been trying to match Elyoya this whole time. Sheo's a jungler who plays a little bit differently to a lot of junglers here in the LEC. He'll try to match the enemy jungler as much as possible and waste their time. Pull them down with him, make sure they're down in levels at certain timers in the game, and give his team information. When you're playing scaling mids and tank tops and scaling bots, finding the enemy jungler means the lanes are in isolation. And I feel like that's been his job throughout the early game in this playoffs. At the moment, he hasn't been able to find that much success. Didn't get the best tracking on Elyoya, and he's just been power farming out of vision as he walks over a pink for the first time there. You saw him ward the Raptors earlier on, Sheo.
And when you're playing against a composition that scales like BDS, is not that it's completely black and white, that they'll just guaranteedly win the fights, but it is important to keep the pressure on, and I think that's why we might need to see more pressure on Nuke in the mid lane, more pressure on Labrov before these flashes are back up. See if Mad Lions can find those opportunities to further snowball advantages that they earned earlier. But Hylissang, the threat, the looming threat of the hook, as long as it is up, BDS have to back away.
This does feel like nearly a role reversal, but I'll hold on to this point as Chasy, spotted there by Adam.
Unstoppable, dashing forward. Try to walk away here. Ghost now being burned from Chasy. Nuke waiting over the wall. Elyoya there as well. Nisqy can ult in if he wants to. Trying to follow up on Adam. Adam flashing out to safety. The knockup is dead. It's 2-man stun for Nuke. Finding one. He gets Nuke. He gets the clone. Looking for the reset. That's another kill. This is disastrous. The Cassio still standing, getting so much damage down. Sheo now trying to find an engage back on Nisqy, but they need to get out of the fight. Adam finding the disengage. Ultimately a 1-for-1 mid for jungle.
I was shocked that was only a 1-for-1 with Nuke getting a massive ultimate in the middle of that, but just not quite able to convert it. Crownie though, where are you going?
Has to get over the wall.
He does. Wow, interesting fight on that top side. Mad Lions really wants to force it. Of course, they have the level advantage in jungle. Vi level 5, Wukong level 6. Just take any fight you can get in the 3v3 on top side. Ends up in a 1-for-1 though. Good trade back by BDS. Nuke saving the play, like you said there, Dagda, with that petrifying gaze. And now Mad Lions crash the bot wave, going to take a recall. Herald spawns, so as much as we're going in a replay here, there'll probably be another fight in this topside jungle.
I think this is so interesting to see this role reversal though. Instead of a BDS controlling the jungle, it's Mad that are getting the vision and invading onto Sheo. It's usually the reverse.
See here, Elyoya level 6, he's just screaming, go, go, go. We need to make sure we take this fight, but here's the stun you were talking about. Lands it onto 2, knock-up lands onto Chasy as well. Onto Elyoya, sorry, into the grounded from the Cassio W. He dies, Nuke dies. Nisqy doesn't have the spell rotation to keep the fight going. But as we come out of this replay, I expect there to be some action on this Herald, but Hyli looks like he's trying to contest mid-push. Nuke, no flash. They really want to punish that Mad Lions.
Trying to find that window of opportunity, especially while the ultimate is down. Makes that play, makes any potential follow-up easier. But Nisqy ultless as well means he might have to commit a charm flash if they want to do anything. No members in the area, though, means BDS just going to bully their way into getting mid-prio. Willing to concede topside, it looks like, to get some attention on the bot lane.
Yeah, they're just covering bot lane.
Yeah, I thought that Mad would have kind of waited for a few of these ultimates to be up, but the second they saw BDS leaving the bot side again, this fantastic vision that's been set up continuously by Mad throughout this game is spotting out that they have the opportunity to go for this. Even looking at Carzzy, backing away entirely off this bottom side, making sure there's no counterplay that BDS can really go for.
Surprise there. BDS, they had ult advantage on jungle. They knew that Wukong ult was on cooldown from the topside fight. They had mid-push. I thought they would move into topside there, but I think they were scared of Crownie getting dove. Labrov and Sheo went down towards that bot side. Elyoya will take a Herald uncontested, and that'll be big usage in the next minute's time when they get the dragon spawn. They can use that for the easy dragon pickup.
Oh, ooh, the minion.
Respectable.
Yeah, Secret Service minion there, diving in front of the president. Tanking that one on the chin. Of course, Mad Lions controlling the pace of the game right now. 1.2k gold lead. 2 first objectives going over to them. The dragon as well as the Herald. Second dragon, just a minute out. Will not be a Cloud Soul, will not be a Mountain Soul. If they roll into something like Infernal, this early game advantage is going to feel so much more important.
But this is what we're talking about, getting control over the mid lane and then just using that to take over in River. This 3-man unit of Elyoya, Nisqy, and Hyli has just bullied BDS out. They can't really get control over the River area for this next dragon. That unlocks Hyli a massive extent, even the likes of Elyoya as well. And Crownie every time has to back away on bot side the second they disappear from mid.
Yeah, let's see if BDS can unlock their bot lane a bit more, because as much as they want to push, they really can't against this threat of the Blitzcrank. Sheo thinking about something mid here. I mean, if they land the Vi ult into a W from Cassiopeia, then Nisqy can't really get away. But this bot push from Mad Lions is doing so much work. Elyoya, like you said, Dagda, teaming up with his support once again. And Sheo will get over towards that level 7. We'll see if he walks into River here. Rod of Ages just picked up for Nuke. I wonder if he has TP. Looks like he doesn't at the moment. 10 seconds on that dragon spawn.
I like Mad Lions trying to apply more pressure to the bottom side. Do not give Crownie a lane to farm comfortably in. If they can break open this tower, they can free Carzzy and Hylissang up to roam even more. But for now, they're going to call the play off instead. Set their sights on the dragon. Sheo waiting over the wall. Has the ward, knows exactly what's going down, but they don't have bot prio. They don't have a man advantage. Nuke is just returning to mid, unless he wants to go for the 50-50 on the steal here.
Yeah, is he going to go for it? He's going to have to queue in, go for the smite, and then flash out. Does Mad Lions let him is the question. Hyli's going to be ready with the silence.
Coming over the wall. Gonna get it. He takes it! That is exactly what you need. Nuke still waiting over the wall, has the flash up and available. Are they going to try to fight this immediately? Grounded. Elyoya cannot find the follow-up, and now BDS trying to try to fight Labrov. Taken out instantly. Hylissang next. Nisqy needs to turn it. Carzzy needs to turn it, but Nuke finds the ult. Nuke finds the Xayah. Carzzy cannot pull the feathers back, and Nisqy, in his desperation, as he tries to pull something together on the backside of this fight, but BDS, you hear it in the voices in Berlin, and you see it in the River. They dominate the fight.
It's everything for BDS, the fight, the dragon, the gold. A fantastic team fight for BDS. Sets them up beautifully. Look at their carries. 3-1 on Nuke, 2-0 on Crownie. That's exactly the gold injection they needed.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? They wait so well for their windows. They just take a perfect fight. Mad Lions thought they had a free objective there. Steal into good coordination. Labrov fell, didn't get to use the ultimate because of the chain CC, but still BDS pick up 4. And it's Nuke flashing over the wall there. You can see the decisiveness behind the mid laner of BDS here. As Sheo takes the dragon and Mad Lions are saying, let's take a fight. Watch Nuke here on the side. Instantly ult flashes over the wall with the W, goes straight onto Elyoya with the follow-up from the Vi. Actually, he used the ult in a second here to stun Carzzy, I believe, as Labrov gets chain CC'd, the 3v3 just in favor of BDS. Watch his ultimate here from Nuke.
Have to hold that thought. He might get a chance to ult again. That's the miasma coming down! And this champion just does not look fair in the hands of Nuke.
Oh, so fed, isn't he? Level 10, Rod of Ages stacking up. He's going to get Seraph soon on base. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse now for Mad Lions. These carries are getting out of control.
Hook going in onto Labrov. Carzzy now trying to follow up. Crownie, I don't know if he can do enough damage. Wildboat coming out. Sheo now going in. Labrov still standing. Carzzy taken down. Hylissang. Blitzcrank hooks real good, but after that, Can't do much else to the double for Crownie.
That polymorph value was so high. Carzzy couldn't get any damage off, and then you've got the cavalry arriving in Sheo. BDS, out of nowhere, the last few minutes they just come alive.
And it looks so good for the first few plays, for the first few moments, but the second that first play, Nuke gets a kill, doesn't seem like a big deal. On the back of that second play, you're reminded about how incredible Nuke is on this champion. 4-0 so 5, incredible KD. Yes, they're winning, so these stats are naturally going to be huge, but when they show it so consistently, Nuke's Cassio just starts to feel like an inevitability heading towards 5-0.
Yeah, and the whole team of BDS, a lot of people were skeptical, and we'll see how they perform on the final stage. Only really Adam's got experience on a stage like this when it comes to a finals in the LEC. And they're cool, calm, collected. A couple blunders here in the early stages, but it didn't amount to much. Found one singular fight, and now these lanes are just snowballing out of control. 2,000 gold lead in the bot side, despite getting killed 2v2.
Sheo going in onto Elyoya. All going to be burned. It looks like wants to commit to the play as Chasy's right behind him. Sheo definitely overstaying, but Nuke coming in maybe could look to turn something. I think Vija's going to be in trouble. And powered blast cone. Not looking too hot right now. Mad Lion certainly gets the skirmish in the bag as long as they take Nuke out of the equation, but Nuke is just too strong. Waiting to ult. Nuke looking for the angle. He's not going to find it. The pullback now coming in. Can they take out the Cassio? Big damage on the Nisqy. At least getting one back in return. Adam living for so long. Crownie on the way. Adam set to go zombie mode. Mad need to get out immediately because Crownie is in the area, but a big skirmish in favor of Mad.
In an interview yesterday, Elyoya promised us a bloodbath, and here we are, 17 kills already in 14 minutes. Mad Lions are the victors of that fight, but they're also the victors of the bot push. Crownie had to move towards mid because he's in a 2v1 scenario. Looks like they won't get a tower for that as he's collapsing down. Actually gets into the river here, so needs to be careful in running down there. Not enough vision.
And it feels like Sheo overextending a little bit there, maybe not anticipating the instant collapse, because he is the one that pulls the trigger. He's the one that kicks this play off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice ult to go in. He thinks, hey, look, we're going to have the people showing up very, very soon, but you can see how far away Nuke is. Labrov has to go the long way around, so it's just a 1v1 that ends up going in favor of Mad Lions, and at this stage now, very separated.
Definitely is. Good charm onto Labrov. Let's watch Nuke here. He gets the Q onto Nisqy, but then Nisqy gets the reset to dash away. Then Chasy lands the first Q and then gets the knock as well. The ult actually gets dodged by Mad Lion, so they just outplay the Cassio there. Dodge the spells, make sure he can't lock anyone down. They pick up kills.
But it is concerning for Mad as we go forward. While they executed that fight brilliantly, feels like they're dodging raid mechanics right now with how much damage Nuke is doing. So if they continue to execute like that, if they can keep shutting the Cassio down, it'll be fantastic in the fights. But with how strong Nuke is, it's going to demand a very high level of execution from Mad. Cannot afford to make any mistakes, and it looks like they want to further build on this advantage, try to take Nuke out of the equation even more.
Very common as Ahri on side lane. You call your jungler, you play for 2v2s, you play to make fights happen on side lanes, but Nuke won't get sucked into it. He's going to go for the vision plant. Should spot out a few members of Mad Lions.
Chasy proxying on the bottom lane, it looks like, as he and Adam are just going to trade farm, but on the top side, fight for the second Herald. Sheo debating if he wants to go in. We'll just retreat over the wall. Mad Lions committing 4 members, and Nuke just for now just catching waves.
Looks like they're just going to try and fall back for the Dragon. It's kind of the El Clasico for BDS. Far more focus onto the Dragon objective than they had on the Rift Herald. So they'll get control over mid, get the mid lane tower down, and then fall back to safety, even with Adam putting pressure onto the bot lane turret as well.
BDS just going to get this mid tier 1. Chasy's thinking about something here, but can't land the knock. BDS oftentimes, if you watch their best of 5 against Vitality, they're so precise when it comes to cross-mapping and finding towers instead of objectives. You go to the river and take the objective and have the vision, great. We'll push out lanes and play on 2 instead. You're committing numbers to an objective, we're committing numbers for pushing lanes, and then they transfer those pushing lanes into some kind of cross-map. Dragon going to be picked up here by BDS.
Herald and a tower in exchange for a tower and Dragon, with Chemtech being the soul. Feels like this trade might favor Mad in the long run, especially as they crack a second tower. Immediate use of that Herald there. No plates, of course, but still some good money into their back pocket. Dead even in the gold. 16 minutes in, neck and neck game at this very moment. The difference in scaling really only going to be felt in the Cassio and the Zeri.
But the thing is, they've just been so accelerated now. 2 items already picked up for the Cassio and the Zeri. You're looking at, you know, an item plus change there for Carzzy. So when it gets to these team fights, if you can just have these strong front-to-back fights empowered by a Lulu, BDS will have a great time, especially in 4 minutes' time for that Dragon.
And I think one of the big strengths of the way that they draft is because they're so reliant on their carries for damage, and you don't really get a lot of it anywhere else. Their carries are almost always the ones getting the kill, almost always the ones getting gold, and they're so good at putting gold into Nuke and Crownie because while the gold is close, there's 1.6k in Elyoya's back pocket, and if that Wukong doesn't kill a carry on the enemy team, that gold does not matter.
You're absolutely right. So Mad Lions want to split BDS up. BDS needs to be very careful in these fights. As long as they stay together and they have some kind of front to back going, they should be all right. But if there's a Wukong flanking, if the Ahri's behind them, if there's a Hylissang trying to isolate one member and trading flashes, that's when you kind of get into murky waters. So BDS need to cover these lanes very well, make sure Nuke's happy and has vision on the side lane, and then they can group up these objectives.
And I think that's where, for Mad Lions, trying to drop a wave here so you can actually move across the map is going to be super important. Like Chasy push out bot, he moves to cover mid, you move Hilly up to top side. See if you can find these big number advantage opportunities. But it's a bit tough at the moment because BDS doing a very good job of moving as this group, getting that vision down. It's kind of what BDS have been renowned for over the course of this split.
It's a game of push and pull. You can see Mad Lions push in mid, they retake vision. Then once the wave comes back to BDS and they push in mid, they will retake vision. You can see Sheo there thinking about some kind of play, but he's going to have to back away. His Zeri's on mid tier 2. Adam's going to take a base. Actually, as I say that, he's going to stop the recall. No objective up here for Mad Lions. They've taken the tower, but they want to pick. Does he spot Elyoya in the bush here?
This is so dangerous.
This is so dangerous. There's a TP now from Adam.
Coming. BDS, they've set the trap, but can they find the angle? Nisqy taken out for now. The miasma immediately coming down. They're trying to ball before the Ahri can dash away. Instant wild growth. The chain CC layered flawlessly from BDS.
Elyoya running. Is he going to get away though? Crownie's got a lot of move speed. Carzzy's here to cover. No heal though.
Cassante on the bottom side going to try to get a tower back, but that's the only thing they can get back in exchange.
Patience, patience, patience from BDS. Now they're going to look for this top tier 1. Adam's base gets stopped by Hilly. He might lose his flash for it. No, out of range of the Q. So Chasy gets the bot tower. BDS get a kill. They invest a teleport for it as well, and a lot of flashes from their bot side and Nuke, but they will pick up a tower in response.
Ignite from Hilly, stopping Adam's base, buying more time. It looks like for Chasy to push on the bottom side, hoping to just get something more. Cassante very much snowballed here, but all armor means that in a fight against Nuke, it's still going to be quite difficult.
Crownie was already down there to collect the wave as well, so the Ignite kind of burned for nothing. And BDS now, I think, are still in a really good spot. Again, this has kind of been the way BDS operated. So like, look, we're happy to lose a tower. That tower was already incredibly low on the bot side, so let's just drop it and make a play elsewhere. It's super difficult for Mad Lions to try and keep up when they're just so willing to invest TPs like Adam. And just Secret Agent Sheo here, the fact he stayed for so long in that bush to make this play happen.
And the thing I think you have to look out for is Labrov's wild growth. All the CC might have been for naught, because you can see Ahri gonna almost dash out, immediately interrupted by the wild growth. Nisqy probably could have just triple dashed out of that fight, maybe able to survive, but clean ult coming in from Labrov.
Yeah, 3 flashes used there from BDS to make that kill happen. And BDS sitting with a gold lead and a dragon lead in this game state, looking at this draft, is a fantastic position to be in. But now we'll see Adam drop waves. So he's come towards mid and helped this team. We'll watch him on the minimap here as he kind of hangs around mid. Eventually he'll go back towards bot, but you know, Adam always does this thing where he will say, you know what, Nuke, you can have my bot waves, Crownie, you can have my bot waves, I'll be the human ward, I'll go down in CS, let my carries get all the gold. And that works very well when you have things like control mages, when you have these hyper-scaling AD carries.
And the thing I want you to look at on this graphic on the bottom of your screen is on the right-hand side. CS percentage, 15 to 30 minutes. That's the percentage of your team's total CS that you get. Adam is 10th, 22%. This man does not take resources. That wave you just saw him take is one of like 4 he will get for the rest of the game. And that means that, again, his carries get so much more.
Adam, not gonna land the knock. Needs to be careful for the hook though.
It's gonna connect, gets pulled back. How quickly can they burn through this health bar? Sion gonna be in trouble. Crownie waiting over the wall. Labrov now coming in. BDS, they've got 3 members there, but they don't want to take the fight.
Yeah, so Nuke is the one with TP. That's why they swapped lanes. Adam was going to get a wave there, but Mad Lions, I don't think they can force a Nash. They need to get back to this mid wave so they can stop BDS from looking for a tier 2. Nuke versus Chasy.
Chasy full committing here. All armor, but it might not matter. He's just so damn tanky. Now he's going all out. Nuke, can he go all out back? 1v1 on the bottom side. Keep your eyes. Nuke now trying to ult Chasy into clean dodge. Nuke now forced to retreat, and Mad Lions see a window of opportunity to defend. Cassio is nowhere to be found, and that means they can set their sights on the Baron. But Sheo, he's stolen once before. Can he do it again?
Sheo,
4K.
Sheo.
Getting lower. Q getting charged.
He's gonna
go over the wall. He's going to commit for the man. Take the Baron. Chasing now TPing back in. Sheo on retreat. BDS need to get the hell out of dodge. Nisqy now leaping in. The charm going a little bit wide. Clean sidestep coming in from Labrov. Sheo debating.
They want to turn.
Can they re-engage? Can they force back? Can they kill some of these Baron buffs? Trying to force it. Hylissang bringing back in the rest of the team. Goodbye to the bye.
And just like that, Mad Lions find their opportunity off the back of Chasy, 1v1ing Nuke, and now the Dragon still on the cards. Mad Lions, though, they don't care. They're going to push in topside.
It's playmaking versus precision here, but Adam's the one that blunders and gets caught out. You can see Chasy 1v1ing against Nuke. That wasn't for a kill. Yes, if Nuke misplays, he can maybe find it, but it was to stop Nuke from TPing in. As long as he keeps it in a 4v3, they're lacking one of their carries and one of their frontliners in this 5-man comp, and so Mad Lions are happy to force. Maybe it was a 50-50, yes, but Elyoya won those.
And just burning that flash, or the ultimate even, sorry, on Nuke as well. Absolutely huge before he gets the TP in. And now with that Baron up opportunity for Mad Lions, it's going to make it so much easier for them to try and play for these picks, try and look for hooks with Hilly. And if you can get that vision control in your favor like they're doing now, make it nigh impossible for BDS to move.
So it's a 50-50, yes. I think Sheo loses a little bit of vision towards the end, so he goes in just a second too late. But Mad Lions have to force this play. BDS are scaling to infinity at this point, and they're in an even game state, so they have to take these risks. Charm goes wide, yes. Sheo thinks he can find a turn here with the TP from Nuke coming in, but Hylissang, good presence of mind, has enough move speed to pull him away. And he doesn't flash into his team here, he flashes to the right. Small airborne onto Carzzy, but now another fight.
Looking for a re-engage. Sheo immediately going to force out the ultimate right at the start of the fight, but there, the hook comes out, but Carzzy now getting taken out. Adam going right in. Crownie still on touch on the backside. Nuke on touch on the backside, but Elyoya creating so much space for the team. The carry still alive. Crownie half health. Chasy running forward. He got so much armor. Crownie cannot damage him. Nuke waiting off to the side. BDS being pushed back slowly but surely. Mad taking the fight.
It's an absolute mess, isn't it? There's not even an objective here to fight over. I think BDS just want to stop Mad Lions in their tracks. 1 minute on the Baron buff. If they can get a couple off, then they'll be sitting pretty happy with that. Mad Lions unable to transition too much with this Baron into any towers.
I mean, this has been absolutely stellar play from Mad Lions. BDS just haven't had a chance to really utilize the fact they got these massive leads. Nuke is on 3 items, but the engages have just been kind of disjointed from BDS, and Mad are punishing.
At the same time, they get Carzzy's ultimate, they get Carzzy's flash, Crownie's flash, Nuke's flash just now coming up. Elyoya's flash down in that exchange as well. So Mad Lions, they get the skirmish, but there's no objective to take from that either. And in the next fight, BDS will be favored based on the flashes they have up and available to them.
Yeah, Mad really needs to get some tier 2s here. You can see they put their foot on the gas. 30 seconds left on this buff. Mid tier 2 and bot tier 2 would be ideal to force this next dragon fight. Chasy up against Adam. See if they can chunk him out here. He's a bit too tanky, but they're looking for the tower itself. They need to break through these tier 2s with this Baron. Otherwise, it'll go to waste. And you can see BDS, big spikes coming in Infinity Edge. Just picked up for Crownie. Nuke getting closer to level 16.
Oh, over the wall! Hylissang, the blast cone, will it be enough? Yes. Pulling back in a single moment there, Nuke wonders, have I thrown the entire game? Has Hylissang won it right here? But he does manage to make it out.
What they knew he was there.
Elyoya.
Waiting, fishing for an angle. Crownie pulling back, BDS on the edge here. So close to having carries just eliminated. Labrov now going to be in trouble. Shields up. Picks definitely helping in that circumstance. Pulling out the Shrelias to retreat on the flank.
How's it going there?
Going forward, they need to isolate Carzzy. They need to knock him down and clean out from Adam. Crownie untouched for now. The charm going on to Nuke is big, but the Cassio is too damn strong. Elyoya does not do enough damage to take the carries out. Carzzy still alive. Carzzy and Nisqy versus the world. Can they do enough damage? With a knocked up coming through the decimating smash, crushing hopes of Mad Lions in the mid lane. It's a triple for Crownie. It's the fight for BDS.
Sacred Agent Sheo starts again, managing to just work his way around the vision, knowing that Mad Lions had invested all the wards onto the bot side. He finds the fight, and BDS, that was beautiful.
That's the front to back that they want. The flank was fantastic from Sheo, yes, but Crownie and Nuke had space to work with. Carzzy was dealt with, and Nisqy could not do much to defend. They won't be able to win the game here, but a mid inhibitor, a reset will come in, a lot of gold to spend, and then the Dragon Soul will be spawning in a minute 40 second time. Nisqy really trying to force them back.
Following up, looking for an angle, knowing that if they get to reset, they're going to have so much money.
Chasy TP in 10. I think they were maybe trying to keep BDS around, but they will get out with blinking health bars, take those bases, and Crownie 7-0 right now on Zeri.
The fact that you now get the opportunity to deny all that vision as well and try and push up, but this was great from Sheo. I mean, does end up using the blast cone. Maybe Mad Lions should have been aware of this, but really, really good heads-up play. And the fact he gets onto Carzzy is massive.
It really is. Now watch Crownie and Nuke here. Nuke gets hit by the charm, but he's next to Labrov. Crownie, look at him on the left there, absolutely untouched. Eventually Elyoya can get on top of him, but the carries are just in such a good spot to stop any damage coming out from Nisqy and from Carzzy. Adam's just standing right in front of them. Good knock there by Chasy, but the damage has already been done. Sheo's coming in, the CC cooldowns are coming off, and Crownie just dominates the fight.
And it's so hard to play these fights out. If you're Mad Lions, you have to find the perfect angle. You have to immediately delete a carry, or it's incredibly difficult, because while Chasy is very, very far ahead, he's got one moment to ult, and then he can maybe 1v1 the backline. But if he's not ulting, he just doesn't have the damage, he doesn't have the threat. Cassante Q, it's nice, but it's not Sion Q, it's not the zoning, it's not the pressure. It's so hard for Carzzy to find the space to just auto-attack. That said, Dominic's coming through. Maybe it'll be enough to give them an edge if they can find a good engage. But right now, BDS dead even in gold. 3 Drakes, much better scaling. Fights are going to be hard for Mad.
Yeah, Crownie just picked up the Lord Dominic's regards from base with nothing. BDS setting up a Baron by the looks of it. TP coming in mid. Mad needs to control both sides of this river.
I love the call from BDS though. They don't care about a second Dragon for Mad, and if they can keep control of Baron, that's huge. And now once more,
Sheo on the flank again. Look at it.
Sheo fishing for an angle here, just keeping Elyoya out of the exchange. Nuke walking forward slowly but surely. Crownie so damn fast with the ultimate. Lightning Crash coming at Mad Lions, knowing that they need to back away. Right now, Vi is the only one to drop. Very well played by Mad Lions to hold the line there, not give BDS another angle to the backside. There's Hylissang fishing for the re-engage. Enemies frontlining, but who? For who? Crownie and Nuke unable to do damage. A clean hook coming in for Hylissang. Nisqy now following up the chart, going wide. Adam throwing down a few zombie autos to keep pressure in their favor, but Mad Lions taking the exchange can now shift their sights to the Baron.
What do they do though with Mad Lions? This is really awkward. If they go towards Nash, they're losing Soul. If they go towards Soul, they might lose Nash. So the carries are still alive, and they're being very careful. Adam TP's up in 25 seconds. There's a world here where Mad Lions finish the Dragon, BDS TP towards the Nash, and then they forced it before Mad Lions have taken a base. So despite winning the fight, BDS will force this Baron when Sheo's out of base.
And especially for Mad Lions, having no vision on this top side is heartbreaking. They need to find some way of getting that vision down. That's why Hilly's starting to push forward. Mad will just take the Dragon and will manage to push BDS out for now.
Mad's still yet to base though. Nisqy's got the TP, Chasy doesn't. Once they get that mid wave in and Adam's up, is he going to TP in? Is it going to be a force from BDS? Yes, it is. So Mad Lions tempo, all used bot side. Can they get this Baron down in time? Elyoya doesn't have smite up yet.
Carries on the side of Mad Lions have their flashes up. Elyoya has the flash up, but they've got no vision. They've got no control over the pit. The control ward will fade away. BDS using their advantage here, trying to leverage the tempo. As resets come through, Hylissang back on the map. BDS can shred through this with the power of the Cassio, but Crownie's not in the area. This is going to take longer than expected. Mad Lions will be there to contest. Right now, just assigning Carzzy to clear out mid lane.
Ward at the back of the pit as well is going to spot everything, so BDS back away instead. Mad.
The hook, the hook, the hook, the
Hook.
hook.
Crownie playing with caution here. Sheo debating. Adam right into the wall. Not at all what BDS wanted. Might just try to reset off that one.
Yeah, BDS couldn't get the Baron off the back of it. They thought they had time, but they were slow to react. They didn't start it up straight away. They thought they could find a pick, and now they've lost the Sion ult. They still want to control this top side, though. Mad Lions and BDS just constantly fighting through mid here. It's like an Aram, just constant back and forth brawling.
Hylissang absolutely fearless here. And this is the beauty of the Blitzcrank when you can force someone into this kind of ARAM situation. You can just fish with the hook. Carzzy fish with the devastating smash! And Carzzy, that ultimate getting forced out, he cannot afford to be standing there. That was a big misstep from the AD carry on the side of Mad.
And that's huge if BDS now can get position on towards this Baron. Flash will still be available for Carzzy, but that ultimate down leaves him so vulnerable to some of these Sheo plays.
I think this Baron is gone, you know. No ult on Carzzy. Mad Lions are going to have to find a way in here. They need to get rid of that pink ward in the back of the pit. Once Sheo does that, now they can play the information game BDS. They can look for such an easy turn here. They just have to be on the same page.
They obliterate this health bar. Adam's such a beefy front line. It's hard for them to find the angle. Hylissang coming in the distance, maybe can find a flank, maybe can hook a priority target, but Adam acting the front line there, manages to secure Baron. Mad Lions, there's nothing left for them in this play, but they're sticking around anyway, chasing unstoppable clean to get out of that one. Hylissang waiting over the wall, polymorph to stop any potential hook, and now they're trying to burn down the blitz. Elyoya into the back line, but he's got no follow-up. Carzzy and Nisqy miles away means the fight is going even further awry. Crownie taking huge chunks of damage here. Gonna desperately try to heal up. BDS continuing to press forward, continuing to leverage their advantage. Now their sights set on mid lane. Nisqy's out of mana. He's going to be forced to recall here, but BDS can easily look to start to contest a tier 3.
Adam much more happy that he made it to that wall this time. BDS now going to start moving up towards the top side. TP coming through as well from Nuke to make sure that they can actually start to crack open the base.
Yeah, Crownie hasn't based yet, but he's got a little bit of life steal. We'll probably be asking his team to give him the next wave to heal up, or they can just get this top tier 2 and take a recall. Time is BDS's best friend, and they just bought a lot of it. Mad Lions really want to force these plays, but on the back foot ever since that Dragon fight. And once that Baron goes down, BDS think of a turn, but Chasy has the W to get out of the ult. Unstoppable, straight away, dashes as well, and the fight's basically over. But Hylissang off the side, thought he could find some kind of flank, gets polymorph, no flash, gets knocked up. Elyoya tries to peel. They both fall. The carries aren't in a position to do damage. Nisqy's off to the left towards midwave, and Carzzy's over the wall, so they're just going to have to retreat here. BDS, if they got another member or two, they could look for an end. So Mad Lions running for the hills, keep the game alive, but these carries are only getting stronger. Crownie might have a BT or a Guardian Angel in the next minute.
And I love the aggressive polymorphs that are coming through from Labrov. You have so much CC there, but he's like, hey, look, if I can just set up these team fights, make it a little bit easier for Sheo to get in, that's going to be big Elyoya, though.
Fishing for the engage on the Labrov. Nuke waiting there. Miasma going to stop any potential follow-up. Elyoya burning the ultimate and almost all of his health bar just to contest there. Not getting the flash out either is devastating. Just the ultimate.
There's no side lanes in this game. It's just group and stop sieges or force fights. Mad Lions try again to look for a pick.
Hylissang gonna hook the minion into range. I think it's heads up play. What? 700 damage from Crownie. Not a good sign for the upcoming siege, as Mad Lions really gonna have to hold the line here.
The Baron doing work here for BDS now. They start to try and push in. Carzzy will need to try and step up to see if he can find that opportunity to clear out the wave. Elyoya, with Hilly still there, puts enough pressure onto BDS, but it feels like a lot of the damage is done with 50 seconds until Dragon. They've got the wave shoved in, and they can easily fall back for the soul now.
Oh, Crownie just bought a Bloodthirster. That's a full item Zeri with summoners, with a Lulu behind him. He is going to be a monster in this next fight, and I don't think Mad Lions have the tools or the damage to get him down. And even if they do, Nuke's next in line.
And if we see another fight where Elyoya ults in by himself, there is now more than enough lifesteal on Crownie that means that Wukong will never kill that Zeri, and that is a devastating fact. They need to be perfectly coordinated if they want to take these carries out of the equation.
I think what you do in a situation like this as Mad Lions is you go for the Lulu. I think they're going to have to get the Enchanter down if they want to take down this Zeri, but they need to make sure they don't overcommit too many resources. It's going to be a really tough fight. Soul in 10 seconds.
Devastating smash coming in. Adam brought over the wall immediately. Gonna ult, Nuke gonna flash to follow up, but Chasy trying to isolate. Chasy trying to create space. Elyoya ulting onto 2, but Crownie does not take damage. There is too much lifesteal. There is the Lulu there to protect him, and the fight is falling apart. It is devastation.
No way.
Popping up in the finals. Crownie is everything. Give him another penta. A king, a crown. Medic said it once, I'll say it again. This man will not be stopped.
You cannot give this guy Zeri. Crownie popping off once again, and BDS win game 1.
12-0-4. Faultless. Fantastic from the AD carry of BDS, and he is one step closer to his first title. Emotionless as well. Crownie knows the goal is not done, the job is not done. This is merely a stepping stone as the first game of the series goes to BDS.
Save the emotions for the interview. He knows he has a job to do, and a job done well. Absolutely incredible performance from BDS.
BDS late game, BDS team fighting. It feels like an inevitability.
So now Mad Lions, you'll have side selection. You go to blue side, we expect. Do you fight fire with fire? Do you say to Nisqy, your Orianna's great, maybe Victor, Syndra will just go down their rabbit hole. We'll match scaling with scaling, and we'll have better team fighting.
I want to bring this back a step though, because I mean, so many of these players haven't been to a finals before, and you see Sheo like secret agenting so many times, saying, I'm going to make the call, I'm going to take a big risk here to make this play stick. You see Crownie, who's stepping up massively as well here with all the pressure that he's on his shoulders. BDS, this looks like a roster of veterans, not the newcomers.
And think back to LFL finals, EU Masters finals last year. This team coming in second, looking figured out in both those finals, looking like they did not have the angles to come ahead in this game, and now the same strategy they used against Vitality was more than enough to beat Mad Lions in game 1, and that is frustrating. Because they didn't have to show us anything new.
Nope.
We didn't see a single new pick from this team whatsoever. They've been prepping, they've been watching all of Mad's game, and they beat them with the exact same strategy they beat Vitality with a week ago.
And it feels like they have 2 or 3 champions in every role, which are basically plug and play to adapt the exact same concept. You know, you say Cassio, Orianna, Syndra can work. You know, the junglers, Vi, Wukong, Maokai, they don't have to overcomplicate it. Zeri, Jinx, Aphelios, Crownie's happy on either 3 of them. And now it's a case of Mad Lions, I don't think you can crack the code, but maybe you can copy it and see if you can beat them with their own game. Because banning out Jinx, banning out Aphelios, banning out these junglers won't change anything, I feel like.
I think the big factor is just crowning that bot side, right? I think the flexibility that he brings, the fact that he can go Zeri, the Xayah, the Jinx Aphelios he's talked about, but I think the Aphelios, the fact that it misses from Carzzy's champion pool is just giving them that slight edge in that bot lane matchup.
Carzzy's played it. The win record isn't great. We'll have to see if he's willing to pull it out in the finals here to maybe even the tables on the scaling options for now. They'll send it back over to the analyst desk to hear what they thought about that first game.
Is BDS going to step into this game 1? Will they be nervous? Will they do something they haven't done before? The answer is no. They're just going to win again. And Yamato, a couple of very comfortable things for their start, right? The fact that they didn't have to change anything about their game plans that they've won with in the past, and the fact that I feel like they also get over some humps in terms of where the game could have turned, but they kept their cool.
No, 100%. I think just generally speaking, knowing that they can fall back on the same patterns, the tank in the top side, they have, of course, the mid lane carry on, of course, Cassio, and just always reestablishing the same patterns, but also on top of that, being able to go blow for blow and be a little bit more spontaneous and loose in their gameplay is a fantastic sign for a game 1.
Yeah, because I think Mad Lions, their plan was to come in and really challenge around the early objectives. We know it's no surprise, like BDS were just cruising through every single Drake. They lost 1 Drake in all of playoffs. So you have a guy like Hylissang that's just like deciding, I'm going to start hitting the Drake here, leashing it for his team as they come in. And the important thing about this is Adam, when he plays Sion every single game, when he hits 6, he's going to base, he's going to run down for Drake and then TP back top lane. He hits that Drake 30 seconds before Adam has a chance to do it. And then in this fight, fight, with Mad Lions setting up to look for a little bit of an invade, this is where I see a bit of a misstep from BDS. I think Adam and Sheo are both trying to leave here, but if Adam stays in and Sheo stays forward to tank that Ahri charm, Nuke can actually turn around this fight. The focus would be on Adam, and I think they could have won that fight. So if anything, I saw maybe a little bit of lack of coordination to kick things off, but they fixed that perfectly later.
Yeah.
And I'll be real with you, BDS own blue buff, that's like their own danger zone. Every single time that Mad Lions found a footing back into the game, it was around that blue buff area. And I really have to give huge credit to Mad Lions because I think they got what they wanted from the draft. They wanted to play for this early skirmish. We've seen Hylissang on the Blitzcrank multiple times, but also the fact that the top side was skirmishing without them and finding these picks, trying to hold themselves on towards the game was really pivotal because at that point in the game when that fight happened, I thought to myself already, BDS had won the game.
And as we take a look at this BDS Drake, which I think then they are even more winning.
I mean, it started as a Mad Drake.
No, the crazy thing here is I think it highlights Mad Lions, one of their weaknesses, right, in terms of how they prepare and take like the basic foundations of the game, because I think if in this position they just pulled out the Drake and they pushed it towards top side, BDS's position would be a lot weaker. But here the fact that BDS recognized this mistake, look for the punish, flashed over the wall with Cassio, and they're so committed to this fight because they spot this mistake, just shows two sides of the coin. I just love the fact that BDS are willing to be a little bit loose and a little bit more spontaneous in their gameplay, and Mad Lions showcasing a little bit of their weakness when it comes to the basic foundations of how you set up an objective.
And I even think this could have been such a more stronger fight for BDS as well, had Labrov not missed the positioning and just a little bit huge chart then came on towards him. But it's something we've seen BDS do a lot as soon as they hit level 6, specifically with Crownie on Zeri. We saw it in some of their bracket stages as well, where they just find one good fight, Crownie just flashes in there with his ultimate, and it's that discipline when you need to be disciplined that puts them where they are, but it's also the the ability to pull the trigger when it's necessary that really just puts them in these situations.
Two of the things that we've heralded for BDS for this entire split now, and we'll get to Crownie in a second because obviously it was crazy, but I feel like Sheo, the two times where he waited and he came from the same angle and he flanked and engaged and got a super winning fight for BDS. Of course, that is always a team effort, but also he's in the game. He started 100%. And he's just doing what he's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing is I think there's like so much pressure on a player. Like when you're playing the Vines, like how do I actually start off a team fight? Because I don't want to run just straight at them. And he's looking for those flank angles. Because I think the early game wasn't the typical Sheo show of like tons of invades or showing up to counter gank. If anything, we saw the fight where they got in there. But even from a slight deficit, he was constantly looking for those angles and punishing the oversteps from Mad Lions.
And the fact that he's playing Vi into Xayah, there was fights when he queued flat into the Xayah, forced the ultimate before it even started, just shows that once again BDS recognized the patterns that they need to break in the opposition to get the right fights going. It feels like everything is so pre-measured and it's so beautiful leading into the fights because the execution is there mechanically.
And I also just feel like that actually, I would actually say by watching the early game, I actually felt there was a bit of nerves from BDS still going into it. I still think we saw some of the mistakes come through from him. I actually think Sheo had a bit of a harder impact in the early game that he would normally have had. Some could probably go down to the comp, some could probably be the attack for Mad Lions. But I think he found his footing the further we got into this game. And I think like this was one of the hardest games for BDS because they had to get used to the stage once again, and they actually overcame it.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually you have Crownie flying in with the pentakill to close things out. Because like even before that, like Mad Lions did keep it competitive. They sort of flipped the Baron early on, won that fight. But at the end of the day, Crownie on the Zeri is just an absolute freak of nature. Frontline damage dealer doing it all.
But he's so broken as well because it's not just a Zeri as well. What if you give him Aphelios? What if you give him Jinx? Like there's not enough bans for this guy too.
And I think just definitely in the way that, you know, the whole strategy of BDS only works if your AD carry can deliver in any shape or form. And that's the main thing, right? They have the tank on top, the supportive champions in the bot lane and also in the jungle. It doesn't work unless Crownie is the man that is going to deliver.
That was the 4th pentakill of Spring. That was the most pentakills we've ever had in a single
That 2
split.
by Crownie?
I guess so. Was there a comp one?
That's also taking into account that our splits are shorter now.
That's true.
Oh,
actually,
damn.
It's double crazy. Our ADs, they are wildin'. But Team BDS's magical story continues as they extend their streak to 11 wins in a row. After the break, we'll be covering picks and bans here at the desk. Don't go anywhere.
He's just following that man around his jungle. Seems like He's trying to do something similar, but the first hook now going to land. Carzzy following up. 3 feathers back, not quite going to get the snare. Labrov now zooming out to safety, running as fast as he can. Carzzy, first blood on the bottom side.
We can fight anytime. He has no flash. Just fight.
We can fight. Xayah no flash, okay? Xayah no flash.
Xante.
Yeah. Kill Wukong.
Kill Wukong. We can end after. Don't think.
Xayah no flash. Xayah no flash. Xayah no flash. No flash, Ahri.
Penta.
Okay. Let's go.